Welcome. Welcome in. Take a moment, wherever you are, to let your shoulders soften. Let the weight of your head settle into the pillow, or the cushion, or the palm of your hand. There is nothing here that needs to be solved. Nothing to remember. Nothing to carry forward from the day just past. Let your breath come and go on its own, in and out. You do not have to guide it. You do not have to slow it. It will find its own quiet rhythm, the way water finds its own level in a still bowl. Tonight, you are going to visit a small place. A very small, very warm place. It floats. It is made of old wood and honey-colored light. It smells faintly of beeswax and cedar and canal water. The people who live in it are gentle. The work they do is slow. And by the time you arrive, everything is already softening toward evening. You can begin, if you like, by imagining the sound of water. Not moving water. Not a river that hurries. Just a slow, patient body of water. A canal, tapping now and then against the side of a wooden hull. Plunk, plunk. A pause. Then again, plunk. That sound is going to be with you all evening. It is a friendly sound, a steady one. You do not have to listen for it. It will simply be there, the way a heartbeat is there when you stop noticing it. Let your jaw loosen. Let your tongue rest behind your teeth. Let your eyes, if they're still open, grow heavy, heavier than they were a moment ago. There is no hurry. There's nowhere to be. There's only this quiet drift toward a place that has been waiting for you. Now, take one long breath in and let it out slowly. Good. You're standing on a narrow towpath at the edge of the old textile district. The evening has not quite become night. The sky above the brick warehouses is a low, soft violet, the color of a plum that has been left on a windowsill for a day. The air is cool, but not sharp. Autumn air, damp air. Air that smells faintly of wood smoke and wet leaves, and the deeper, greener smell of the canal itself. The buildings on either side of you rise 3, 4 stories high. Old warehouses of dark brick, their windows tall and shuttered, their brickwork weathered to a color somewhere between rust and rose. Iron hoops for tying up boats jut from the walls at regular intervals, and the ropes that hang from them have gone soft and pale with age. Below you, the canal moves. Or rather, it barely moves. It is a slow canal, a patient canal. The water is dark, almost black in this light, and where the last of the sunset catches it, the surface shimmers like tarnished copper. You can see the reflection of the shuttered windows in it. You can see, farther down, the reflection of a single lit lantern hanging from a hook. And moored between 2 of these old warehouses, sitting low in the water, there is a barge. It is a broad, flat-bottomed barge, longer than a wagon, but shorter than a small house. And it has been converted, over many years, into a workshop. Its roof is a gentle peak, covered in tarred canvas. Its sides are painted a deep, weathered green, the color of old bottle glass. There are small, square windows along its length, and behind each window, a warm amber glow. The glow of oil lamps and candles that have already been lit against the coming dark. A short wooden gangplank connects the towpath to the deck of the barge. The gangplank has a rope handrail, soft with wear, and as you rest your hand on it and step forward, the plank gives just a little beneath your weight, a gentle, forgiving flex, and then settles again. You step onto the deck. The deck is narrow, only a few paces wide, and it is scrubbed clean. There are coils of soft rope in one corner, a small wooden bucket, and and a broom leaning against the cabin wall. The cabin door is a low door, painted the same bottle green as the hull, with a small round window set into it. Through the window, you can see the flicker of firelight. You reach out and turn the wooden handle. The door opens inward with a soft hush, and warm air spills out to meet you. Warm air that smells, above all else, of honey and hay, and something like clean straw. The unmistakable smell of melting beeswax. You step inside, and you lower your head just a little to clear the beam of the doorway, and the door closes softly behind you. You are inside the workshop now. The ceiling is low, but not close. It is planked with dark wood, and iron hooks are set into the beams at even intervals, and from these hooks hang all manner of gentle things. Coils of pale silk cord, small brass hoops, bundles of dried lavender tied with linen ribbon, a row of tiny wooden hats, each no bigger than a walnut, dangling on their own little pegs. The floor beneath your feet is old, well-worn planking, and someone has put down a long strip of woven mat down the center of it. A soft, oat-colored mat that mutes the sound of your footsteps as you take a slow step forward, and then another. The room is longer than it looked from outside. It seems to unfold in gentle stages. First, a low-ceilinged entry, then an arch of dark wood, then a wider room beyond, and beyond that, another arch, and another room. Each room glows amber. Each room hums with the same faint, honeyed warmth. To your right stands a small iron stove. It is a squat, round stove, black with a bit of soot along its flanks, and it is lit. You can see the coals through its little grate, glowing orange, and hear the low chuff-chuff of the fire inside. Chuff, chuff. It sounds like something small and patient breathing. On top of the stove sits a copper pot, and inside the copper pot, honeycomb is melting. The honeycomb is a warm gold, half liquid, half solid, and the room is full of its smell. Not sweet, exactly, but golden, grassy. A little bit like a summer meadow that has been folded up and stored away, and now, in the middle of autumn, is being gently unfolded again. And beside the stove, on a low wooden stool, sits the Chandler. The Chandler is called Ovie. Ovie is a person of medium height and medium age, and completely unhurried movements. Ovie wears a long, soft apron of undyed linen, its front spattered here and there with pale drips of dried wax. Ovie's sleeves are rolled up to the elbows, and Ovie's hands, you notice this right away, Ovie's hands are quiet hands, careful hands, the kind of hands that have done the same slow, gentle task for so many years that they no longer need to think about it. Ovie glances up as you come in and offers you the smallest, kindest of nods. A nod that says, without any words at all, "You are welcome. Take your time. Come and sit." And so you do. There's a low bench along one wall, its cushion made of striped ticking, and you settle onto it, and you let yourself rest. For a long moment, you simply watch. Ovie stirs the copper pot with a long wooden spoon. The wax turns and folds within itself, gold and paler gold, and here and there a bubble rises to the surface and gently breaks. The wooden spoon makes a soft scraping sound against the copper. The stove goes chuff. The canal, somewhere outside and just below the floorboards, goes plunk. Time moves differently here. You can feel it. It is not that time has stopped. It is that time has softened, the way butter softens when it is left near a warm hearth. Nothing is late. Nothing is due. There's only this pot, and this fire, and this warm, honeyed room. After a while, Ovie sets the wooden spoon aside on a small ceramic rest and reaches for a long dowel of pale wood. The dowel is threaded with wicks, a dozen or so cotton wicks, each hanging down like a slender white tail, evenly spaced along the length of the dowel. Ovie holds the dowel up, tests its balance, and then, with the slowest and most patient of movements, lowers it into the copper pot. The wicks disappear beneath the surface of the wax. Ovie counts, silently. You can see the count in the small movement of the lips. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then, just as slowly, lifts the dowel out again. The wicks are no longer white. They are pale gold, coated in a thin, translucent skin of wax, and already the wax is beginning to firm as it cools in the air. Ovie sets the dowel across the top of a wooden rack so that the wicks hang free, and then reaches for another dowel, another dozen wicks, and the same slow ritual begins again. Dip, count, lift, rest. You watch this for a while. It is very easy to watch. There's a rhythm to it that seems to reach into your chest and rearrange something, softening it, slowing it, letting it settle. Dip, count, lift, rest. The tapers on the racks grow, dip by dip. First, they are only wicks. Then they are threads. Then they are pencils. Then, slowly, over many patient passes through the pot, they are candles, proper honey-colored tapers, each one identical to its neighbors, each one glowing faintly in the amber light. Between dips, Ovie lets the wax cool for a few moments. And in those small pauses, you notice more of the room. Along one wall, there are shelves. Long, low shelves of dark wood, and on the shelves, arranged with great care, are the puppets. You had not realized there were so many. They sit in rows, each on its own small wooden stand, and each one is completely still. There's a puppet of a rabbit, a long-eared rabbit in a little green waistcoat, its wooden eyes painted a soft brown. There's a puppet of a woman with silver hair braided down her back, holding a wooden broom. There's a puppet of a small round bear, seated cross-legged, with tiny wooden paws folded in its lap. There's a puppet of a fox, a slender, russet-colored fox in a scholar's cap. And this one, you notice, is a little dusty across the shoulders. Each puppet has strings, fine, pale silk strings that rise from their heads and hands and feet up into the shadows of the beams, where they are gathered into neat wooden cross pieces and hung from hooks. The strings shift very slightly as the barge rocks, the smallest possible sway, and the puppets sway with them so gently that you might almost imagine you had imagined it. At the far end of the room, past another archway, you can see another figure moving. This must be the puppet dresser. They are a tall, slow-moving person in a soft gray smock, and they have their back to you. They are folding something, a small piece of velvet, it looks like, and they fold it with the same unhurried care that Ovie brings to the wax. You feel, in that moment, that you are exactly where you should be. You had not known before tonight that a place like this existed, but now that you are here, it seems perfectly natural. It seems like a place that has been floating quietly at the edge of the world all along, waiting for whoever might need to visit it. Ovie glances at you again and gestures with one hand, a small, welcoming gesture, toward the copper pot. You understand. You are invited to come closer. You rise from the bench. Your body feels a little heavier than it did a moment ago. Not tired, exactly. Just anchored, warm, weighted, the way a good blanket is weighted. You cross the woven mat, one slow step at a time, and you come to stand beside the stove. Up close, the smell of the wax is even richer. Honey, hay, something faintly floral, like the ghost of clover. You breathe it in, and it seems to settle deep into your chest and to stay there. Ovie shows you the copper pot. It is a beautiful pot, thick-walled, hand-hammered, its surface a warm reddish gold that mirrors the flame of the stove. Inside, the wax is a smooth liquid gold, and if you look closely, you can see the faintest wisp of steam curling up from its surface. Ovie shows you the dowel of wicks, ready for its next dip. You watch as Ovie lowers it in, and the wicks slide into the wax, and Ovie counts silently. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then lifts them out. The wicks come up gleaming, coated in another whisper-thin layer of gold, and they are laid across the rack to cool. Ovie sets a small brass tool into your palm, then encloses your fingers gently around it. It is a wick trimmer, cool and smooth and heavier than you expect. It fits your hand as if it had been shaped for you. Its little blade is dull silver, its handle a warm, polished brass, and along the side of the handle, someone has stamped a very small mark, a bee, no bigger than a lentil, with tiny wings. Ovie shows you what to do. The oldest tapers on the rack, the ones that were dipped earliest and are now nearly finished, have small, uneven wick ends at their tips. You are to trim these. You are to take each taper, one at a time, and with the little brass blade, snip the wick to a neat, even length. You do the first one slowly. You take the taper in your left hand. It is smooth and slightly tacky beneath your fingertip, still a touch warm from the wax. And with your right, you bring the trimmer to the wick, and you close the blade, and the tip of the wick falls into a small ceramic dish set out for the purpose. Snip. A soft, small sound. You do another. Snip. Another. Snip. The tapers cool as you work. The wax firms under your touch. You can feel the exact moment on each one when the surface goes from soft to set, when it becomes something a candle rather than something still becoming a candle. You settle into the rhythm of it. Snip. Set aside. Next taper. Snip. Set aside. Next. Behind you, Ovie is still dipping. Dip. Count. Lift. Rest. The stove goes chuff. The canal, somewhere below, goes plunk. The puppet dresser, at the far end of the barge, hums very quietly to themselves. You cannot make out the tune. It is not really a tune. It is just a warm, low humming. The sort of humming a person does without noticing when they are absorbed in something they love. You finish the row of tapers. There are 12 of them. They lie in the wooden tray now, neatly aligned, honey gold, each with a small, even wick. They look, all together, like a small, quiet family. Ovie takes the tray from the workbench and sets it aside, on a shelf where the finished candles can rest and firm entirely. There are other trays there already, dozens and dozens of tapers. Enough, you realize, to light the whole lantern rigging of this workshop for weeks and weeks to come. You wonder, briefly, how many candles it takes to keep a place like this in soft, golden light through a long autumn. And then you decide not to wonder. The number does not matter. What matters is that the candles will be there when they are needed, and that they were made slowly, one by the warm and patient light of the little iron stove, Ovie now gestures for you to follow. There's another room to see. You set the brass trimmer down on the workbench. It makes a small, soft clink, and you follow. You pass under the wooden archway and into the next room of the barge. This room is where the puppets truly live. It is longer than the first room, and its walls are lined, floor to ceiling, with narrow wooden drawers. Each drawer is about the width of your two hands held side by side, and each has a small brass pull, and above each pull, a small paper label, written in careful ink. You cannot read the names from where you stand, but you can see that each drawer has one, and that the labels have been written by the same patient hand. In the center of the room stands a long table. The tabletop is covered in a soft, worn cloth of faded blue, and laid out on it are two marionettes, the rabbit in the green waistcoat and the small, round bear. They are lying on their backs, their eyes open, their strings loose. They do not look asleep, exactly. They look at rest. The puppet dresser, in the gray smock, is at the table now, and they turn as you come in, and they offer you the same small, welcoming nod that Ovie did. They are working on the rabbit. They are brushing the rabbit's little green waistcoat with a soft brush, a brush no wider than your thumb, its bristles pale and fine, and they are moving in slow, careful sweeps from the rabbit's shoulder down to its waist. You can hear the whisper of the bristles on the wool, a soft, papery sound, almost like the sound of dry leaves settling. After the brushing, the puppet dresser lifts the rabbit gently, one hand beneath its wooden head, the other beneath its wooden feet, and carries it to one of the drawers. They pull the drawer open. It slides out with the softest of wooden sighs. Inside is a bed of dark green velvet and a little indentation shaped exactly for a rabbit-sized puppet, and a folded square of muslin, and a small linen sachet that smells, faintly, of cedar and lavender. The puppet dresser lays the rabbit into the velvet. They arrange the little ears. They fold the small paws. They coil the silk strings patiently into a loose figure eight and lay the coil beside the rabbit's shoulder. They tuck the muslin over the rabbit like a very thin blanket, and then, with great care, they slide the drawer shut. There's a soft, muted click as the drawer closes. You realize that this is what the puppet dresser has been doing all evening, putting the puppets to rest, season by season, puppet by puppet, drawer by drawer, getting them ready for the long, quiet stretch of winter, when the workshop will still be lit, but the marionettes themselves will be sleeping in their cedar-scented beds. You watch as the puppet dresser turns to the bear. The bear is next. The puppet dresser brushes the bear's soft brown fur with the same gentle brush. Shoulder, chest, the small round belly, each of the little wooden arms. They pause to check a joint at one elbow, a tiny wooden peg held together with waxed thread, and finding it sound, they move on. They lift the bear. They carry it to its drawer. They open the drawer. Green velvet, muslin, cedar sachet. They lay the bear down, coil its strings, tuck it in. The drawer slides shut. Click. You feel your own eyelids grow a little heavier. There's something profoundly restful about watching another creature, even a wooden creature, be tucked into a soft bed. The mind, seeing it, seems to remember its own bed, its own softness, its own longing to be laid gently down. The puppet dresser moves on to the fox next, the slender russet fox in the scholar's cap. They fetch it from its shelf and set it on the table, and they take up the brush again, and they begin to sweep the little coat of sawdust from its shoulders. The sawdust is very fine and pale, and it lifts in a small cloud and settles into the folds of the tablecloth. The whisk-whisk of the brush is the softest sound in the world. Ovie, meanwhile, has returned to the stove. You can hear, behind you, the small sounds of another round of dipping. Wax stirred, wicks lowered, the count silent in Ovie's lips, the lift, the set-aside. You look around this room more slowly now. There's a wooden ladder on the far wall, going up to what must be a small loft. The rungs are dark and worn smooth by years of hands and feet. There's a coil of pale rope hanging from a hook. There's a small window, high on one wall, and through it you can see a wedge of the violet sky, deepening now toward true blue, and the very first star. You can hear, faintly, footsteps on the towpath above. Slow, even footsteps. A lamplighter, perhaps, making the round of the district, going from hook to hook, lifting a long pole with a small flame at its tip, and setting each of the towpath lanterns alight for the night. The footsteps pass by, and then they fade, and the workshop is quiet again. The puppet dresser has finished the fox. They carry it to its drawer, a slightly narrower drawer, closer to the ceiling, and they open it, and they lay the fox on its bed of velvet, and they coil its strings, and they tuck it in. Click. They come back to the table, and they lift another puppet, and then another, and slowly, unhurriedly, the marionettes on the shelves grow fewer, and the drawers in the walls grow fuller. You cross the woven mat to look at one of the labels. The nearest drawer, at your waist, is labeled in the same careful ink. It says, very simply, a name. And another drawer nearby says another name, and another says another. Each puppet, you realize, has a name, and each name has a drawer, and each drawer, once the puppet is inside, becomes a little bed. It is a good system, a patient system. It has clearly been in place for a very long time. You return to the bench. You sit again. Your body settles into the cushion, and you feel the whole barge sway, very slightly, on the water. Plunk, plunk. The canal, still speaking to the hull. Ovie glances over from the stove and offers you a small wooden cup. You take it. It is warm in your hands. Inside is something pale and gently steaming. A warm drink of some kind, honey-colored and faintly cloudy. It smells of milk warmed with a little honey, and a whisper of something like chamomile. You take a small sip. It is very warm, very gentle. The sort of drink that seems to remove a small tightness from the throat that you had not known was there. You take another sip. You cradle the cup in both hands, and you rest your hands in your lap, and you settle back against the wall behind the bench, and you close your eyes for a moment. Only for a moment. Because there's more to see, and you do not want to sleep just yet. You open them again. The room is still there. The stove is still chuffing. Ovie is still at the pot. The puppet dresser is still moving from puppet to drawer, drawer to puppet, in the room beyond. You take another sip of the warm drink. The barge sways. The candle flames in the lanterns above you sway with it. The reflections of the flames in the little dark windows sway too. Small amber lights, dancing on black water and black glass. After a while that could be 5 minutes or 20, it is very difficult to say. You rise from the bench and drift quietly back into the puppet room. Not to help, exactly, just to be near. The puppet dresser is working now on a larger figure, a puppet of a heron. The heron is nearly as tall as your forearm is long, and its wooden body is painted a soft dove gray, and its long wooden beak is a warm ochre. Its strings are more numerous than the smaller puppets, one at each wingtip, one at each knee, one at the head, one at the tail, and the puppet dresser handles them with great tenderness, coiling each string into its own small figure 8 before laying it beside the heron. The heron's drawer is a long, shallow drawer near the floor. Its velvet is a paler green, almost silver green. The puppet dresser lays the heron on its side, with its long neck curled toward its wing, so that it looks, you notice, very much like a real heron does when it sleeps. Neck folded, beak tucked. They tuck the muslin over it. They slide the drawer shut. Click. You realize you have been holding your breath just slightly. You let it go. The room seems even quieter than before. The puppet dresser turns to you and offers a small, tired, very kind smile. They gesture toward a low shelf where a few last puppets remain. They mean, perhaps, that they are almost finished, or that you are welcome to stay as long as you like, or both. You decide to help in a very small way. There is a small dish of silk strings on the corner of the table. Spare strings, perhaps, or strings that have been unwound and need to be recoiled. You take one. It is a fine, pale silk cord, cool and slippery between your fingers. You coil it, slowly, into a loose figure 8, over and under and over and under, until you have made a small, neat shape of it. You set it back in the dish. You take another. You coil that one too. The papery whisper of the silk between your fingers is one of the softest sounds you have ever heard. Almost the sound of a page being turned in a very old book. Almost the sound of a moth's wings brushing a lampshade. You coil another string. Another. You are not helping much, really. But it does not matter. The puppet dresser hums their quiet, not quite tune, and moves the last puppets to their drawers. And Ovie, in the next room, dips another dowel of wicks. Dip. Count. Lift. Rest. The candles on the workbench have grown properly full and fat by now. They are true tapers. When Ovie holds one up to the lamplight, it glows from within like a small, honey-colored bar of light. Ovie sets it aside with the others. There's so many now. Row upon row, cooling, firming, settling into their finished shapes. You finish the last string in the dish. You set your coil down beside the others. You look around and realize that the puppet dresser has closed the last of the drawers. The shelves are empty. The table is bare. The workshop is at rest. The puppet dresser walks slowly to a lamp, and, instead of blowing it out, they simply lower its wick with a small brass key so that the flame dims to a soft amber ember. They do this to each lamp in the puppet room, one by one, until the room is very dim, very warm, and lit only by a low, honey-colored glow. Then they move to the doorway, and they pause there, and they nod one last time to Ovie and to you, and they slip through a small door at the far end of the barge, and they're gone, perhaps to their own bed, perhaps elsewhere. It does not matter. They are at peace, and so are you. The barge is quieter now. Just Ovie at the stove. Just you in the doorway between rooms. Just the water tapping the hull. Plunk, plunk. The stove chuffing. Chuff, chuff. You return to the first room. The room with the stove and the copper pot and the workbench. Ovie is finishing the last dowel of tapers. The wax in the pot has grown lower. You can see the copper of the bottom through the thinning gold. There's enough for one more dip, one more count, one more lift. Ovie does it. Slowly. Dip. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lift. Rest. Then Ovie sets the dowel across the rack and reaches for a small iron lid and places it over the copper pot. The last of the wax will cool now in its own time and be scraped out and saved for the next batch, weeks from now. Nothing is wasted here. Nothing is thrown away. Even the very last drops of wax will find their place. Ovie takes down the finished tapers from the rack, the ones you helped to trim earlier and the ones from before that, and lays them all together into a large flat basket. The basket is lined with a soft cloth. The tapers rest against each other, gently, gently, so that none of them bends or breaks. They will be stored until they are needed in a cool cupboard along the back wall, a cupboard whose door Ovie now opens, sliding the basket in, and closes with the softest of clicks. The workshop is finished for the night. Ovie unties the linen apron and hangs it from a peg. Underneath, Ovie wears a soft wool jumper the color of oatmeal and loose linen trousers and thick knitted socks. Ovie rolls down their sleeves and buttons the cuffs, one and then the other. Then Ovie turns to you and gestures toward the far end of the room, past the workbench, past the stove, to a corner you had not really looked at yet. In that corner is a canvas cot. It is a simple thing, a wooden frame, a stretched canvas, a folded wool blanket the color of dark honey, and a plump linen pillow, and a smaller blanket of soft cotton flannel laid folded across the foot of the cot. Beside it is a small wooden crate that serves as a table, and on the crate is a low lamp, barely more than a small nightlight, and a mug that has been rinsed and set out to dry. The cot is meant for whoever might need to rest. Tonight, that is you. Ovie shows you, with the small, kindest of gestures, that you may lie down, that the cot is yours, that the stove will keep the room warm all night, that the lamp will burn very low, and there is nothing at all to be afraid of, and no reason at all to keep your eyes open any longer than you wish to. You walk to the cot. The mat under your feet is soft. The stove is warm on your right side as you pass it. The smell of beeswax is even richer here in this corner, as though the corner itself has been steeped in it over years, until the very wood of the walls holds the scent. You sit down on the edge of the cot. The canvas gives beneath you, firm but forgiving. You take off, if you like, your outer layer. You take off your shoes. You set them neatly beside the cot. You lie down. You lie down, and the pillow receives your head, and the wool blanket is there beside you, and you draw it up, slowly, over your legs, over your hips, over your chest. The wool is a little rough on the outside, but the underside, the side that touches you, has been washed 1,000 times and is now the softest thing imaginable. You draw it up to your collarbone. You leave your hands out on top of the blanket, folded gently at your waist. Ovie moves quietly around the room, dimming the lamps one by one. The small brass key clicks, and each lamp lowers and lowers, and comes at last to a small, soft ember. The room grows dimmer, softer. The amber light retreats to its lowest, gentlest register, the color of the last coals in a hearth. Ovie sets one candle burning, one of the new tapers, one you may even have trimmed yourself, in a small brass holder near the stove. It burns steadily, honey gold, its flame the shape of a small, quiet leaf. The Chandler bows their head to it in some old gesture of thanks, and then turns and moves to the far end of the barge, to their own small quarters, and slips through a low door and is gone. You are alone, or rather, not alone. The stove is with you. The candle is with you. The puppets in their velvet drawers are with you. The water tapping the hull is with you. Plunk, plunk. You lie on the cot, warm and still, and you let your eyes close. You let your eyes close, and you notice how heavy your body has become. Your legs are heavy. Your arms are heavy. Your shoulders have sunk fully into the pillow and the canvas, and there's no part of you that needs to hold itself up any longer. Everything is held. The cot holds you. The blanket holds you. The barge holds the cot. The water holds the barge. The old brick warehouses on either side hold the water. You are held and held and held. The stove goes chuff, chuff. The water goes plunk, plunk. Somewhere far above, on the towpath, a very late footstep passes and fades. The room grows dimmer, or your eyes grow heavier. It does not matter which. You can still smell the wax, warm honey and hay. You can still smell, more faintly, the cedar drifting from the puppet drawers in the next room. A dry, calm, safe smell. Old wood, sweet resin, everything folded away for the season. You think, faintly, of the tapers cooling in their basket. You think, faintly, of the marionettes asleep in their velvet drawers, curled or laid straight, strings coiled beside them. You think of the copper pot with its iron lid, and of the small brass wick trimmer resting on the workbench, and of the coiled silk strings in their dish, and of the low candle burning near the stove. A small, quiet flame, a small, quiet leaf of light. You do not need to hold any of these thoughts. They are simply here. They are drifting past like small, warm boats on a same slow canal. You can watch them pass, or you can let them pass without watching. It does not matter. Your breath is very slow now. In and out, in and out. The stove goes chuff. The water goes plunk. Your eyelids are so heavy, heavier than any candle you trimmed tonight, heavier than the copper pot, heavier than the wool blanket that covers you. Let them close. Let them stay closed. There's nothing to see anymore that you have not already seen. The barge sways very gently. The candle burns very softly. The puppets sleep in their drawers. Somewhere in the district, another lamplighter, on their very last round, passes overhead. Their footsteps are soft. They do not disturb you. They come. They pass. They fade. The wax is cool now in all the trays. The copper pot is quiet. The wooden dowel of wicks hangs empty on its rack. You breathe in, you breathe out. You breathe in, you breathe out. The canal keeps its slow rhythm. Plunk, plunk. The stove keeps its slow rhythm. Chuff, chuff. Your heart keeps its own slow, kind rhythm. Steady, patient. The rhythm of a body that has been well cared for, in a warm room, on a floating workshop, on a slow canal, in a quiet district, on an autumn night. You are safe here. You are warm here. You are welcome here for as long as you like. Sleep if you are ready, or drift if you are almost ready. There is no difference between the two in a place as gentle as this. The candle burns. The wax cools. The puppets rest. The barge sways. The water taps. Plunk, plunk. Rest now. Rest, rest. The lantern above the little table dims by one small degree, as if it too were beginning to sleep. Not out, only softer, only kinder. You do not open your eyes to check. You do not need to. You can feel the light growing gentler through your eyelids, a warm rose color, fading to a warm brown, fading to something like the color inside a folded hand. The barge sways, the canal taps, the stove breathes. Somewhere far down the water, a bell rings once, just once. A soft, round tone that travels across the surface of the canal and comes to you thinned and gentle, the way a voice sounds through a wall in a house where everyone is already asleep. You do not need to know what the bell means. You do not need to count the hours. The bell is only saying, all is well, all is quiet. Continue to rest. And you do. You continue to rest. The wool blanket is warm across your shoulders. The pillow beneath your cheek smells faintly of cedar and of clean linen and of the beeswax that lives in every corner of this small floating room. These smells have followed you all evening, through the trimming of wicks and the pouring of wax and the tending of the little stove. And now they follow you into sleep, the way a patient animal follows its person from room to room, never far, never asking anything. Cedar, linen, beeswax. You breathe them in, you breathe them out. The candle on the table has burned down by a finger's width. You do not see this. You only sense it in the way the light has grown a little rounder, a little lower, a little closer to the wood. The flame is small now. The flame is content. It will burn a while longer, and then it will go out on its own, without any fuss, and no one will need to tend to it. That is a kind thought. Nothing here needs tending. Not the candle, not the stove, not the wax in its cool trays, not you, especially not you. You are already tended. You are already cared for. The barge holds you the way a hand holds a small, warm stone, loosely, kindly, without gripping. Outside, the district has settled fully into night. The last of the lamplighters has finished their round. The last of the shutters has been closed. The last of the small boats has been tied to the last of the small posts. The canal water moves on its own now, unhurried, carrying nothing but reflections. A low moon, a scattering of stars, the warm square of a window here and there where someone has left a candle burning for company. One of those windows is yours. One of those small, warm squares floating on the dark water is the window of the barge, and inside it, you are curled beneath the wool blanket, breathing slowly, drifting further with each breath. If someone were passing above on the little arched bridge, a late walker, a slow cat, a person who could not sleep in their own house and had come out to walk the quiet paths, they would look down and see that warm square on the water and think, someone is resting there. Someone is safe there. And they would walk on, gladdened, and go home to their own bed. You are that someone. You are the warm square on the water. You are the reason the late walker feels a little better as they cross the bridge. Rest deepens now. It settles down onto you the way snow settles onto a roof. Slowly, evenly, without weight, without cold. A soft covering. A soft, soft covering. Your hands, folded near your chin, are warm. Your feet, tucked beneath the blanket, are warm. The small of your back, pressed into the cushion, is warm. Every part of you that could be warm is warm. Every part of you that could be soft is soft. The puppets in their drawers sleep on. The little wooden fox with the painted smile. The little wooden crane with the folded paper wings. The little wooden child holding a lantern the size of a pea. They lie in their velvet-lined trays, and they dream whatever it is that puppets dream. Slow dreams, careful dreams, dreams of small hands and small stages, and the applause of small crowds gathered on the deck of a floating theater. You dream too, or you are beginning to. The dream has not quite begun. It is only gathering at the edge of you, the way mist gathers at the edge of a pond before dawn. It has no shape yet. It has no story yet. It only has a color, and the color is warm. Let it come. Let it come as slowly as it likes. There's nowhere to be. There's nothing to hurry toward. The stove goes chuff. The water goes plunk. The barge sways. You breathe in. You breathe out. Deeper now. Softer now. A little further into the warm brown light behind your eyes. A little further into the soft covering. A little further into the rhythm of the canal. Plunk. Plunk. Chuff. Chuff. The candle burns lower. The night grows deeper. The district sleeps around you. Every window dark or dim. Every chimney breathing its last soft breath of smoke. Every cat curled on every doorstep. And here, on the barge, in the small, warm room, you are becoming part of that great quiet. You are joining the district in its rest. You are one more slow breath in a place made of slow breaths. There's a kind of belonging in this. A soft, easy belonging. You did not have to earn it. You did not have to ask for it. You only had to arrive, and the barge welcomed you, and the wool blanket was already warm, and the candle was already lit. You belong here tonight. You belong here for as long as sleep lasts. And when sleep is over, whenever that is, you will belong somewhere else that is just as kind. Because kindness of this sort is not rare. It only feels rare. It is waiting in small rooms and small boats and small pools of candlelight, all along every canal and every quiet district, in every gentle place. You will find it again. You have found it now. Rest. The barge sways. The canal taps. The stove breathes. Somewhere, very far away, a second bell rings. Just once. Softer than the first. It is not calling you. It is only saying, the hour has turned. The night is deeper now. Sleep on. And you do. You sleep on. The dream at the edge of you thickens a little, gains a little shape. There is a warm color. There is a soft sound. There is, perhaps, the memory of a wick between your fingers. The smooth, cool tug of it. The pleasant, small weight. But even that begins to fade, because the dream does not need memories to build itself from. The dream will make its own shapes out of warm light and slow water and cedar and beeswax. You do not have to help. Let the dream do its work. Let the barge do its work. Let the night do its work. Your only work now is to breathe. And even that is being done for you, easily, by a body that knows how. In, out, in, out. The candle flickers once in a small draft that has slipped in beneath the door. The flame recovers. The flame steadies. The small draft moves on into the room, cool and gentle, brushing the edge of the blanket, brushing the top of your hair, and then settling into a corner where it becomes part of the general softness of the air. You do not feel it, or you feel it only as a passing thought, the kind of thought that arrives in sleep and leaves again without being examined. Something cool, something kind, something gone. The barge sways, the water taps. You drift further, somewhere deeper in the boat, deeper than you have gone tonight, deeper than the drawer of puppets, deeper than the shelf of trimmed wicks. There is a small room you did not see, and in that small room there is another candle burning, and beside that candle there's a book open to a page that reads simply, in careful ink, "All is well, all is well, all is well." You do not need to read the book. The book is reading itself, quietly, to the barge, to the canal, to the night. You only need to rest. Rest. The words of the book move out through the wooden walls, across the water, up into the low mist that has begun to gather along the canal. All is well. The mist carries the words further, to the next bridge, and the next, and the next. All is well. By the time the words reach the far end of the district, they are only a feeling in the air, a softness, a rightness. But every sleeper who breathes that air breathes a little easier. You breathe easiest of all, because you are closest to the book, because you are on the barge, because the wool blanket is over you, and the candle is beside you, and the puppets are in their drawers, and the wax is cool in its trays. All is well, all is well, all is well. The stove goes chuff, one last small chuff, and then settles into a long, quiet glow. It will not need tending until morning. It will hold its warmth all night, patient as an animal, warm as a hand. The candle on the table burns lower still. Its flame is the size of a small seed now, a small, warm seed of light. It will finish itself soon and go dark, and the little room will be lit only by the glow of the stove, and that is enough. That is more than enough. You will not see it go out. You are already too far away. You are already drifting somewhere warmer, deeper, softer. Good, good. The barge sways. The canal taps. Plunk, plunk. Your breathing has grown very quiet, very slow, very even. If someone were sitting beside you, they would not hear it. They would only see the small rise and fall of the wool blanket and the peaceful shape of your face. And they would smile, and they would go on with their own quiet work, and they would not disturb you. No one will disturb you. Not tonight. Not on this barge. Not in this district. The night is a long, kind hallway now, and you are walking down it very slowly, and every door along the hallway is closed, and behind every door is a quiet room, and you do not have to open any of them. You only have to keep walking, or stop walking, or lie down right there in the hallway on the soft carpet and sleep. You lie down. The carpet is warm. The hallway is dim. The doors stay closed. You sleep. Somewhere the barge is still swaying. Somewhere the canal is still tapping. Somewhere the stove is still holding its warmth. But these things are very far from you now. They are taking care of themselves. They do not need you. You do not need them. You only need the warm hallway and the soft carpet and the closed doors and the quiet. The quiet. The quiet. A third bell rings somewhere very softly. Barely a bell at all. Barely a sound. Only the memory of a sound, arriving from a great distance, saying, "Rest on, rest on, rest on." You do. You rest on. The candle on the table has become a small ember. The ember glows for a while, thoughtful, and then it too grows dim. The room is lit now only by the stove, a low orange glow that pulses gently, gently, like a slow heart. That glow is enough for the puppets in their drawers. That glow is enough for the wax in its trays. That glow is enough for you. The barge is a warm shape on the dark water. The district is a warm shape on the dark map of the city. The city is a warm shape on the dark map of the world. And you are the warm center of all of it, without knowing, without needing to know. Rest, rest. The dream has come fully now. It does not need to be described. It is yours. It will keep you company until morning, and it will ask nothing of you, and it will leave gently when the time comes for it to leave. You will not remember most of it. That is fine. Dreams are not meant to be kept. They are meant to be passed through, like weather, like slow water. Pass through, pass through. The barge sways, the canal moves, the stove holds. You breathe, you breathe, you breathe. If, somewhere in the softness, a small thought rises, a thought about tomorrow, or about something you meant to remember, or about anything at all, let it rise like a bubble in the canal, and let it reach the surface, and let it break, and let it be gone. The canal has room for all such bubbles. The night has room for all such thoughts. Nothing you set down here will be lost. Nothing you set down here will follow you into sleep. You can set it all down. You have set it all down. Your hands are empty now. Your mind is empty now. Empty in the good way. The way a bowl is empty when it has been washed and set upside down on a clean cloth to dry. Ready, rested, at peace. You are the clean bowl. You are the dry cloth. You are the warm room in which they wait. Rest, rest. The night goes on without you. The barge sways without you. The canal taps without you. They are glad to do so. They have done so for many nights before you were here, and they will do so for many nights after. And tonight, they are doing so around you, softly, the way a family carries on a quiet conversation in another room while a child sleeps upstairs. You are the child. The conversation is not for you. The conversation is only there so that you know you are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone. You are held. You are held. You are held. The stove glows. The blanket warms. The puppets sleep. The wax cools. The barge sways. The water taps. Plunk, plunk, plunk. And now the sentences are shorter. And now the words are fewer. And now the space between them is longer, because you do not need words anymore. You only need the warmth, the soft, the slow, the kind. Rest, rest, sleep, sleep. The candle is out, the stove glows, the barge sways. You are safe, you are warm, you are here. Sleep now, sleep, sleep. Good night, good night, good night.